I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. So we have an offer for you guys today. It's ongoing, but basically if you want to help promote this podcast, we will pay you $50 to make a little TikTok or Reels about how you listen to our podcast. If you're interested, go ahead and email Annie@sugarfreemedia.co. That email address is also in our show notes, but go ahead and email us and let us know that you're interested and we will send you the details. We basically just need it to be downloaded and saved without a watermark so that we can repost it. And then if you guys would post it to your social media, basically just showing a day in the life of how you listen to the News du Jour and how it kind of fits into your day and your routine. We would love to see how you listen and help show the rest of our audience and people we are reaching out to on social that you guys listen and love listening to the News du Jour. So if you're interested, again, we will give you a $50 Visa gift card or Venmo payment in exchange for a little Reels. And now, without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into the news. We don't have any mini stories today. We're getting into our longer stories right off the bat. This story, though, does come with a content warning. It involves a mass shooting with children.
Ever noticed how the smallest changes can have the biggest impact? Reducing the size of a plate can stop us from overeating. Asking the right question on a date can make you appear more attractive. And removing the dollar sign from a menu will make us spend more. These are nudges, small psychology-inspired tweaks that have a big impact on behavior. I'm Phil Agnew, and on my podcast, Nudge, you'll learn how you can use nudges to get a raise and how nudges can kick your bad habits. Search for Nudge wherever you get your podcasts.
So this story is absolutely tragic. And again, if you have little ears around you, you might want to fast forward on this episode or come back to it and listen later. But an armed woman, shockingly enough, went into a Nashville private Christian school called Covenant School and opened fire. She killed 3 children and 3 adults. The affected school is pretty small, only 200 students spread from preschool to 6th grade. 911 was called around 10:15 a.m. and someone reported an active shooter. Police then went into the school and shot and killed the assailant. Parents and families of the staff and the children obviously flooded the school property at that point. 6 of those families, though, walked away with the worst news they could imagine, that their loved one, 3 of them children, had been ripped away from them unexpectedly, senselessly, and far too soon. Everyone thinks this happens to other people until it happens to them. One parent said, quote, "We're resilient, but we shouldn't have to be in this. I never would have imagined this," end quote. As we have discussed, President Biden took the matter of gun control into his own hands recently and passed the most stringent executive order that he could have, trying to put into place more safeguards against people intending to use guns for nefarious means, mass shootings, murders, etc. But this law is barely off the ground right now and faces many challenges getting up and running as it is being put into effect. And he's done what he can at this point. So if we want any stricter gun laws at this point, it would be up to Congress to act. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that, because that executive order was pretty aggressive. Of course, this is a story that is all too familiar in America today, but of course, this one's different from so many others because it was a female shooter. At the time that I'm recording this, we don't have much information about what might have motivated this killing, but we do know that female criminals tend to move differently than their male counterparts. So when we learn more about what happened here, we will definitely be sure to let you guys know. Stay tuned. And next up for today, the Twitter codes leaked. Okay, you guys, so Twitter has spoken out saying that they believe parts of their online code have been released. This would be a huge violation of their intellectual property rights and just the latest scandal that the company is involved in, obviously. It appears that the code was leaked to a site called GitHub, and it sounds like GitHub was pretty cooperative in taking down the posted code as soon as that was requested. That said, the internet is forever, as we know, and certainly the type of techies who are living on GitHub, a platform designed for software developers, would have snagged that code quick and saved it in various forms on their various personal devices. So once it's out there, it's kind of out there. But Twitter is also asking GitHub to garner names. Who the heck posted this online? Who leaked this code? And they presumably would then take this person to court once they can figure out who it is. It is being assumed as of now that whoever leaked this code is probably a former employee of Twitter who is not too happy about the current handlings of the company and likely was laid off amid the Elon Musk takeover. So why is leaking the code a problem for Twitter? Well, it makes them much more vulnerable to hackers. Once hackers know the code, it's like a roadmap to the inner workings of the Twitter website, and that helps hackers identify loopholes and backdoors and vulnerabilities in the code. Hackers could then go in and steal users' data, for example, or even try and take down the site. Are these former employees just trolling Musk to mess with him, or did they have a larger plan or motive in mind? It's unclear as of right now, but as the manhunt continues for these culprits, we'll be sure to keep you guys posted. And lastly for today, we have to discuss what's going on in Israel. So over in Israel, you guys, there's a lot going on, even more so than usual. There have been huge, widespread protests there. According to NPR, the largest labor union called a nationwide strike. Flights are all grounded. College classes are canceled. Hospitals are moving all elective procedures. All over something that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, wants to do. You see, he basically wants to overhaul the judiciary branch to where he could appoint all the judges and potentially even override Supreme Court decisions, which is nuts, obviously. If you guys think back to civics class real quick, it's important to have a balance of power, right? You know, checks and balances. It basically means that no one should have absolute power over everyone else. There's always a need for another branch that could check them. And Netanyahu taking over the judicial branch in Israel would mean he essentially is above the law. No one could hold him accountable for anything he does or anything someone else does that he wants to allow. This change was supposed to be up for a vote today, but the strikes and protests have brought it all to a screeching halt. Where things will go from here is anyone's guess, but we'll be sure to keep you posted. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "If outside validation is your only source of nourishment, you will be hungry for the rest of your life." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from
Oklahoma.